welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, March 28, 2019. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Today marks 18 years that the Unity Labour Party, the ULP, is in government, making them the longest-serving party in office in SVG. Speaking on radio early this week, General Secretary of the ULP, Julian Francis, said since they have been in office, various sectors of the economy have been transformed, which have contributed to the overall development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
For continued development of this country, people of the country, look at the projects we are getting done. Look at what we have invested into the small country. St. Vincent stands tall in the Caribbean right now with regards to management of the resources. What we are investing in now, when you add the port, geothermal, the hotel down at Mount Wynn, and the hotel in Diamond, those projects total about the same amount of money that we spent in developing Argyle International Airport. That is the sort of investment, one after the other, because the airport was opened.
Leader of the ULP, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, speaking at the opening of the Chateaubriand Hospital 2 days ago, noted the positive changes that have taken place under his government. Government Senators Luke Brown and Carlos James also lauded what they described as the progressive work being undertaken by the Unity Labour Party government.
When we came to office, you had a shortage of water from Diamond Village, come all the way through Lomans, come down to Stubbs, and come down to Villa. And when it's dry season, you had real problems. This government invested in installing a $23 million windward water facility.
In North Leeward, a magnificent wharf, a state-of-the-art, nearly $3 million smart hospital, the accompanying supportive framework of development in terms of the investors who will be partnering with the government and with you, the people, to develop North Leeward by extension and to develop St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But also importantly, we speak of the medicinal cannabis industry, and not the medicinal cannabis industry in the way it is traditionally framed. This is the government and the Unity Labour Party government that has continued to support you and to deliver to you. And we will continue to ensure that these things are part of our policy as a government. And the people of North Leeward, you have a lot to be proud of.
The modern medical and diagnostic center in Georgetown, which I mentioned before. The mental health rehabilitation center, because we don't want to leave patients with mental health conditions behind. The Milton Cato Memorial Hospital itself, the operating theater, the recovery room was also upgraded. The Beckway Hospital and the Port Elizabeth Clinic was upgraded under a Basic Needs Trust Fund project. The two soon-to-be-open polyclinics were upgraded under the modernization of the health sector project. The doctors' quarters in Union Island, which will be opening soon, they were also recently completed. The Clare Valley Health Center was built, and we have begun some very important work on a temporary facility for the relocation of the Louis Punnett home.
The ULP leader said to ensure progress continues, Vincentians must give him and his party a 5th term in office at the next general elections.
I built a house in Goss, up in the bush, up in the mountain. Me alone up there. I live up there like a Rasta man with the internet. Because when you see I come next time for the election, and all what I do in I say I need a 5th term. And you say no, leave me a gas and let me live like a Rasta man. You not give me the 5 ton? You not vote at all? Why, after all what I talk? Well, let me tell you something. Your daughter and your son will vote for you. Yeah. But between now and then, well, it's a good thing you say you're voting for them other side. You just ain't going to vote, but you have to vote.
Controller of the Inland Revenue Department, Kelvin Pompey, has stressed the importance of paperwork as it relates to the filing of tax returns. Speaking with SVG-TV News yesterday, Pompey said in some cases employees are not given their tax deduction slips by their employers. He said this is an important document when it comes to filing tax returns, with the law mandating employers to provide it for their employees. He said one should report instances where this law is breached.
We have a concern in terms of the number of persons who are turning up at the department, mostly from the private sector, who do not have their tax deduction slip. And I want to remind employers that you have an obligation under law to give all employees who worked with you during the year a tax deduction slip. And this slip is necessary for the employee to file their returns and also to get back a refund or to make payments if they have payables. And for employees who are listening, I want to encourage you, please call the department if you did not get your TD5 or your tax deduction slip. Just give us the name of the employer. You don't have to tell us your name, and we would take it from there.
Pompey said other documents, such as receipts of the sale of goods and services, are also crucial. He encouraged consumers to ensure that they are given a receipt for every transaction.
Once a taxpayer issues a receipt, that is the paper trail that the department uses in terms of auditing and verifying the sales levels of these businesses. And so once more, I want to encourage persons and consumers as you shop, if there are businesses who refuse or who do not give you the necessary receipt, please call at the department, because under law, you should be given a receipt once you purchase either goods or services from any business, whether it be self-employed person or store or whoever. You should be given a receipt. And in a lot of cases, persons who do not give receipt, you find that they have problems in terms of complying with the tax system. And so we wish to know who they are so that we can engage them and bring about the necessary behavioral change so that they become compliant taxpayers.
Historian Dr. Adrian Fraser believes that heritage awareness should not be held only in March, but throughout the year. National Heroes and Heritage Month, celebrated in March annually, gave recognition to persons who have made a significant contribution to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and acknowledges traditional and historical elements that contribute to the Vincentians' way of life. Dr. Fraser said while he acknowledged that it is not an easy task to get persons on board with some of the activities, he believes educating the youth is a good way to build awareness on SVG's heritage and culture.
It's like a one-day fancy. On March the 14th, everybody gets tied up with this. But after March 14th, we are back to our old ways, and we have forgotten a lot of that until we get to the next year. I think it's important that even in looking at Chatelier, that more be done in the schools in appreciating what Chatelier did for this country. And one of the drawbacks is that Chatelier is our national hero. The question is, what is a national hero? And to me, a national hero is a national symbol. Somebody who is able to inspire a nation, and so that the spirit of Chatelier, what Chatelier was able to do, I think could play an important part in how we approach our life today.
Dr. Fraser said heritage is not only based on the Garafunas, but also of Africans, Indians, and Portuguese descent. Hence, he is strongly of the view that Heritage Month should be looked at differently.
Heritage Month has to expand to include also that African past, because that is where our heritage really came from. And then from the period just after emancipation, you also have the Indians coming in. They came in as indentured servants, so that they also have to be factored in. Then you have people like the Portuguese who came as indentured servants, and they are much smaller in numbers and did not have the kind of impact that the other groups have. So all of those are part of our heritage, and the people who are of Indian descent, the people who are of Portuguese descent, they also need to have an understanding of who they are, why they came here, and their whole role in society. So that, speaking about heritage, we have a number of things to bring into the picture.
Reflecting on SVG's lone national hero, Paramount Chief Joseph Chatelier, Dr. Fraser said more has to be done to correct the information passed on by the Europeans that the Caribs were warlike and cannibals.
The early textbooks, and from the time of Christopher Columbus, they regarded them as cannibals. Now, nobody as yet has been able to come up with any evidence of cannibalism. And the cannibalism was used as a means of disparaging the people, of getting the British government, of turning minds against them. Here are people who are not, as far as they're concerned, people, but who are cannibals. And as I said, there's been absolutely no evidence. So over the years, the indigenous people had this particular problem. It had a psychological effect on them, especially when they began to go to the schools, to go to school and realize that the textbooks were reinforcing this. And this is something that happened up until, a few years ago.
With gender equality, much of society's problems can be solved, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Mobilization and Gender Affairs, Narissa Gittins-Macmillan, is encouraging all stakeholders to play a role in achieving this objective. Today, the Ministry of National Mobilization and Gender Affairs held a National Stakeholders Review Workshop at Blue Lagoon Hotel, ahead of the 25th anniversary of the 4th World Conference on Women. Macmillan said comprehensive reviews are necessary and must include the input of all stakeholders. She added that the reviews are necessary to assess the success which has been achieved thus far to encourage gender equality.
Today's National Stakeholders Review is necessary so that the outcomes of this intergovernmental process can feed into the Commission's 2020 review. Comprehensive national level reviews should assess progress made in the implementation and identify challenges encountered. They should take stock of achievements, identify gaps and setbacks, and outline strategies for addressing those gaps and challenges that can result in renewed commitment and clear sets of priority actions. They should have timelines, because you don't just want to have a set of activities and no timeline, no framework when these things should happen. So we need more than just the activities. We need a commitment to say that within a specified time, these things are what we are working towards.
The Permanent Secretary said the review done today should align with the global work done on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and galvanize gender responses. She encouraged the participants to be engaged in meaningful participation.
This particular development merge with these goals, and we're looking for meaningful contribution from you towards this national report. I'm sure that you have heard people say, and I believe, that if you don't know, you should ask. There are a number of people who don't like to ask because other individuals might think less of them. One of the things I have learned along the way is to ask. We say nobody knows everything. And if you don't know everything, then ask somebody who you think knows. If they tell you something that is not correct, it's on them, not on you. So if you don't know, ask. And that's the reason why we are here, so that if you're not sure of something, you can ask. Because you might be involved in a particular activity by a different name, but that activity is also being done and conducted by another organization, another group, and therefore when you leave here, you can add somebody else to your network so that you can collaborate.
Meanwhile, Deputy Representative from the organization UN Women, Tony Brodbar, encouraged the participants to share their opinions with honesty and openness.
There is no judgment for your opinion. As the PS said, there are questions that need to be asked. Ask your questions. And even if you feel that your question may be one that is judged, please know in this room there is no judgment. At least not from me, and I'm going to ask from everybody the same. What I will ask is for you to be accountable, to think through why you are asking the question you're asking, and what is your position. Because a lot of the times in the gender arena, and with regards to the gender agenda, we have a lot of biases that we never truly question. And what we want us to really get to today, if we're going to be honest about what's working for women and girls and boys and men in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have to be able to figure out whether we think some things are problems and why.
Music can have a positive impact on people and inspire them to do great things. And the United Nations Development Program Japan Climate Change Partnership is using the power of music to spread the word on climate change. The UNDP officially launched the Climate Change Action Song today at the Murray Heights Hotel. The song was written and performed by Vincentians Adrian Wright, Daniel Vera, and Damien McTeer, and produced in collaboration with SVG AMP. Speaking at the launching event was Communications Associate for the UNDP Sub-Regional Office for Barbados and the OECS, Penny Brown, who said the JCCP project, which was launched in 2016 in 8 Caribbean countries, including SVG, has a focus on knowledge and communication. She said the song forms part of a creative public education strategy.
In 2016, we started with a knowledge, attitudes, and practices study in partnership with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that study asked Vincentians what they know about climate change. It sought to understand what their attitudes are and what their behaviors and practices are as it relates to climate change. Following that study, and depending on the results of that study, a communication strategy was developed. And that strategy told us the way forward based on the results of the report. And we've been directed by that research. So that report, the KAPB report, has directed how we proceeded with our outreach in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this song that we're launching today is a part of that. Vincentians said that they wanted to be related to in creative ways. They wanted to hear the message. They wanted to see people that were familiar to them and to see sites that were familiar as well. So the music video, the artists are depicted, Vincentian images are depicted, and we're following what Vincentians have said they want to see, how they want to receive the information.
Representative from the Economic Planning Unit, Nyasha Hamilton, said the song went through a series of testing to ensure that it was both catchy and factually sound. She said the song will form part of future climate change education campaigns.
While the song is being launched today, and we hope that it enters the rotation in the radio stations, we will also be using the song at whatever events we have when they're climate change related or just environmental education related. This song, along with the communication strategy that Penny spoke about that was developed, will be used even beyond the lifetime of the project, because obviously education is an ongoing effort. It needs to be consistent, a lot more consistent than we have been, but this song we hope would be part of that. And we've also done some school visits as well, so we're hoping that by doing that and getting the song out there, but also getting our faces out there and reminding people that we do exist and where we are, that they would come to us when they need information, that kind of information. And that goes for the media as well, when you're putting together your articles and such, that, hey, we can help you with technical information.
President of SVG AMP, Gary Young, praised the artists for their work. He said SVG AMP is proud to be a part of a project which will help to bring about positive change in the society.
To highlight this global issue, music being a vehicle that it is, you know, it's the perfect vehicle to highlight events, and musicians throughout the years have always managed to use music to bring emphasis or awareness to certain issues. Climate change in St. Vincent, when the entire project came to us, we were mindful of the fact that after doing our own research, a lot of our farmers and users here might be aware of climate change but not too familiar with the preventative measures to avoid things they can do to help prevent further damage to our climate. Yeah, so me becoming president and jumping in, Adrian and Damien had already scripted 2 songs, which they then agreed after the UNDP on Change Communications. So I want to thank everybody involved in this. You know, starting first with Change Communications, who were consulted by the JCCCP and the UNDP to initiate this drive. And so when I came on board, it was amazing to hear what these artists had contributed so far.
A music video for the song Climate Change Action is available on YouTube. Here is a sample of that video.
More trees, protect rivers and streams. It's all about you and me. Yeah.
No more plastics in the ocean. To the soil we'll give devotion. More wildlife conservation. Let's make it a greener nation. It's you and me. Let's make it green. Let's build a green economy.
So let's plant mangroves. Protect our coasts, protect the coral reefs. It's all about you and me.
We are living in a world today. We are facing climate change. We must come to realize it is time to make it right. We are living in a world today. We are facing climate change. We must come to realize it is time to move to action.
Drama Development Officer Martin Kwashi told our news team that there are many talented Vincentians who are afraid to explore their talent because of fear of rejection, even from persons in their community. Speaking at an event hosted by the School for Children with Special Needs yesterday as part of their Literacy Week of activities, Kwashi said that a lot of persons are hiding their talents behind other activities that they're involved with, and encourage parents to support their children with whatever talent they possess.
And we know that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has very talented people. We have very talented people. The only problem is that sometimes we feel that outside culture is better than ours. We feel that people outside is better than us. And we should not take that route along, because we have to have a very high self-esteem and believe that what we as Vincentians do is on par with what the world is doing out there. So those of you who are very talented, I'm asking you to find somebody, find some person who you know is very talented as well, and try to find an avenue for you to release your latent talent. Because it is very important. You have to show people that you are talented, because these days we know that people do not promote people anymore so much. You have to say it for yourself. If you're a good actor, if you're a good actress, if you're a good dancer, if you're a good poet, if you're a good writer, you have to tell people that, because most likely people do not do that for you. We're living in a very selfish world, and so people would take the opportunity to protect and to treasure themselves. And
while encouraging persons to explore their hidden talent, Kwashi said the key to success is to remain humble.
Good encouragement for every one of us, and remember, parents, to teach your children how to read. Make sure that they know how to read, because it is very important. That will determine how far they reach in life. A good education is worth it. It's worth more than $1 million. It's worth all the money in the world that you can have if you have an education. Your money can finish, but the education that you have would stay with you until you die. So that's my encouragement to everyone out there. Vincentians, like talented people, stay focused on what you want, have a dream of your goals in mind, and just stay on the track. And if you believe in yourself, no matter what the negatives are, you go forward to your goals. Do not think about the negatives that people would say about you, because sometimes it's just negative and you would fall off the track. Stay put, stay focused, stay positive.